Hi everyone, my name is Shazatar, and today we're going to talk about the most dreaded thing that you can think of, and that is play. A lot of therapists and parents and teachers sometimes, when working with children with autism, really have a hard time with play. And a lot of the time it's hard because getting that joint attention with your learner can be very challenging. And I think it's important for us to recognize that, but it's also important for us not to give up. And I want to give you guys some tips and some ideas of how you can get that play to start. The most important thing, or the most important part of getting that play to start, is by really getting that joint attention initially. And a lot of people will find that they're, playing with the toy with their learner, but their learner is looking at something or engaged in something that has nothing to do with the toy that they're trying to play with. And getting them to look at the item or to attract their attention is a really, really challenging part. And so what I want us to do is really focus on, how do we get that attention? How do we attract the learner to look at us? And so if I just take the rings out and I just go, look, it's the rings, look, rings, the child's not going to be very interested, because my tone of voice, maybe my facial expressions, are not there to really attract the learner or to make them look at me. A lot of therapists or teachers or parents will call the child's name, Johnny, Johnny, Johnny. That doesn't work. Not initially. So initially what we want to do is we want to do things that would make our learner look at us. And once you get that eye contact or that look towards the item, then you start to get that kind of back and forth with your learner. There's those possibilities, those opportunities that you can create. So one of the things that I would do, and I'm just going to model for you guys some of the things that I might do. One of the things I like to do is to get that play to keep on going. I'm not going to do something and then stop and pause. I want to keep that interaction or what I'm doing going, so that the learner is engaged. They may look at me at some point, and then at that point I might know that when I, for example, dropped it in like that, and it was this, exaggerated move, that the learner looked at me, versus maybe if I put it in very quietly, maybe the learner doesn't look. So you want to get to know your learner and how, and what ways may actually attract them to the play, because every child is different. So you want to try different things until you get their attention. So if I'm just going to use stacking rings, and I'm going to use one thing, and I'm going to try to get the learner's attention. Now, I'm not using a learner with me here, and that's just always to protect their confidentiality and, for ethical reasons. So I'm just going to model it for you guys, but I want you guys to try it. And the whole purpose behind this is to give it a try with your learner. And again, your learner may not sit down for you initially. They may get up and walk away. So if they don't sit on the floor, do it at the table. If they're standing at the table, that's okay too. Just start somewhere. And sometimes the learner may even be, 2 to 3 feet away from you. One of the important things is to control your environment so that they're not playing with other things far away from you, and they have no interest, and that might be very, very challenging. So you want to control the environment. The other thing that we may suggest is, if the child is actually playing with something else, then start there. But I'm going to use stacking rings as an example. And, if it's something that they may touch or may be interested in, or there's nothing else in the room and you're trying to get them interested in this, then these are some things that you can do. Initially, we're going to keep it very simple, so I'm just going to go with it, and then you guys can give it a try. Try it with your learners and see what happens. Green, yellow, orange, red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I see you. I see you. Where, oh, where is it? shake, 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 shake. Red, orange, yellow, yellow, green, blue, blue. Ring around the rosy, a pocket full of posies. Ashes, ashes, we all fall down. On. On. Put it on. Boop. Boop. And last one. On. Here you go. Here you go. You want to give it a try? 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's stuck. Oh. Okay, so as you can see, a couple of things that I want to point out. Tone of voice. Tone of voice really needs to be playful, needs to be fun. You've got to have some intonation in there. If you're talking in a very monotone voice, you're most likely not going to get your learner's attention. I always say to everyone, think about, the characters that are on TV and how they talk. So they're very animated, their voice is very animated, their facial expressions are animated, everything's a little bit more exaggerated. So mouth movements, eye movements, their eyebrows go up, hand movements. Think about that when you're playing with your learner. You want to attract the learner to some of the things that you're doing. Initially, I started off with just making some sounds as I was putting them in. Sometimes I put them in, fast or slow. I dumped them. I associated a song to go along with it. So I'm trying different things. There was a point where I actually handed it to the learner to put it in. There were times where I was counting 1, 2, and I paused so that they could potentially fill in. These are what we would call the target points or the choice points. So giving the learner an opportunity to join in on that play. But you could see that I'm going to keep it going. And sometimes what happens is you kind of get stuck because you're like, okay, well, I'm putting them in, but what can I really do with it? Well, you can count, you can identify the colors. This one has some little balls inside, so I can shake it. At one point it got stuck and I went with it. I'm like, uh-oh, and I just commented on what happened. And so one of the things that you want to try to do is comment along as you're playing, describing what you're doing. Anything else that you can do in that play could be beneficial, could be fun. Now, again, this is just initially trying to attract the learner's attention to you. Then when you set actual targets, you can target certain things like, for example, if I was doing the receptive skill, put it in or put it on, then the learner has to do it themselves and they're following that instruction during play. Maybe I want the child to count along with me. 1, 2, and they're counting with me. Maybe I want them to identify the colors. So different things that you can do with one item. And I think that's what, really the goal is. You want to try to be playful with one item, and then what you can do is move on to the next item and have it ready. So that play is ongoing and you're just embedding those little points so that the learner can start to join in on the play. Give that a try and let me know how it goes for you. Good luck.